Yo guys, it's slyroh. You already know that today I'm bringing you guys my battle for Week 6 of the Pokemon Premier League Division 1 Season 4. This week we are taking on NecroStevo and his Eterna City Enders, which is a team that we have never ever lost against in the 2 times that we have played him. However, this season Necro has only lost 1 game and is basically tied for 2nd place in the league. So he is definitely stepping his game up this season. He also has a pretty scary team. For the full team analysis, make sure you check out the video that was uploaded yesterday. A link to it should be in the description. And we are going to waste as little time as possible because there's plenty to talk about this week, because I really put my thinking cap on for this game. So let's go ahead and talk about my team really quick, do that quick overview. I do have a lot of defense. I have a physically defensive Rotom with Will-O-Wisp and Thunder Wave, Volt Switch, and Shadow Ball with a Colbur Berry. I have a physically defensive Tentacruel that is not holding an item, Scald, Sludge Bomb, Rapid Spin, Giga Drain. We have a Choice Scarfed Tyranitar with a good moveset. I want to say it was like Stone Edge, Ice Punch, Earthquake, and Surf, because he had a Rhyperior on his team, but he didn't bring it, obviously. I have a specially defensive Mega Steelix, which was kind of for a Gardevoir that didn't show up, but it can be kind of useful for the Magneton and the Rotom. That is my Stealth Rocker for the week. Also has Earthquake, Iron Head, and Dragon Tail. I have an Assault Vest Victini that has Glaciate, Blue Flare, special attacker for the 2nd week in a row. Glaciate, Blue Flare, Grass Knot, and Psychic. In the team analysis, I did originally have Shadow Ball, but I did change it to Psychic, so it had Psychic for this match. And then I have a specially defensive Togekiss, which is there to take on the Mega Blastoise. It has Wish Protect, Dazzling Gleam, Air Slash. So that's my team. We can see the 6 that Necro brought. He brought the Weavile, Magneton, Garchomp, Primeape, Rotom Cut, and the Mega Blastoise. I was pretty happy not to see Volcarona, because it's just one of those mons that I absolutely hate planning for. I overanalyze everything that it can do, and it's just a mon that's no fun, despite the fact that I don't think anyone's ever actually brought it against me in the league. I'm still terrified of it. Golbat is a pain to try and take down, so I was pretty happy to not see that, and Gardevoir. I do have some pretty good answers to Gardevoir, but it would have been a lot of playing around it to figure out what kind it would be, so I'm glad I don't have to play any Gardevoir mind games. So that's cool. However, the mods that he did bring aren't much better for me, because Weavile absolutely runs to my team. I do not have a lot of good stuff for it. The Tentacruel is about it. Garchomp, I really don't have a lot for either. That can really wall it consistently and effectively. Rotom does the job kind of for a little bit. Togekiss can deal with certain variants of Garchomp, but I really don't have an end-all be-all answer to Garchomp. Same thing with Primeape. Primeape was a little under-prepped for, and I don't really have switch-ins too much, so I am going to have to deal with that in other ways. Rotom Cut, I think, is one that I really didn't mind too much. I do have an Assault Vest Victini as well as a specially defensive Mega Steelix, so I wasn't too concerned about that. And Mega Blastoise does have the coverage to really deal damage to pretty much all of my team. But that is basically my mindset going into the game. I will say I did end up leading off with the Rotom, because I was trying to kind of guess his lead, and I figured that Rotom matched up the best against everything else. A lead matchup against Weavile, I'd be fine. If it's Magneton, I could burn it, or I could just get a safe switch into the Mega Steelix so I could get my Mega off. Garchomp, I could Will-O-Wisp it if it's not a substitute variant. Primeape, I could deal with, I could burn it, you know. So I feel like I had a pretty good matchup with Rotom against all of his mons, and I kind of wanted to get momentum as early as I could in the game. So let's go ahead and start the match and see how it goes and what all we did. So I'm going to say this now just so I can get enough talking time. He leads off with the Mega Blastoise, and I lead off with Rotom, which is cool for me. Now, if he does have a lot of speed investment, he could outspeed me, but I didn't want to show him that I was defensive, So I actually go straight up for the Volt Switch. If he would have went into Garchomp, then I could have just burned it. So Volt Switch was very not risky. And at this point, I'm hoping he thinks that I'm an offensive variant. That's a resisted hit. He's not going to question like what kind of Rotom I am. But I am defensive, but I'm hoping that he doesn't know that yet. Any sort of upper hand mind games I can get, I'm going to take. So I can straight go into Victini because I'm not really scared about what this Rotom can do to me. Right here, I probably should have seen that he didn't Volt Switch, so maybe he's not Scarf, but he could have just been playing with my mind. I just go for the Blue Flare because it was a pretty safe play. Do some damage to Garchomp, so I was cool with that. And I go into the closest thing I have to a Garchomp switch in, which is this Rotom. And he reveals that he is, by this damage, he is Jolly Life Orb. Life Orb is very scary. I don't have leftovers, I don't have Pain Split. This Rotom is not going to be able to deal with this Garchomp forever. But I am going to go for the Will-O-Wisp because he doesn't have a fire type, so any residual damage on anything he could switch in is fantastic for me. So I'm going to get residual damage on the Magneton, and I am super cool with that. So I don't want to take any damage that I don't need to, so I'm just going to switch straight out into the Mega Steelix. I didn't need to risk a Volt Switch in case he was like Scarfed or something crazy, but he's going to try and Volt Switch, and he's not going to be able to. I really think that he's going to go into Mega Blastoise, predicting me to get my Stealth Rocks up. That way he can Rapid Spin the turn after, or threaten me out with Scalds and stuff like that. So I predict the Blastoise to come in here, and I want to get damage on the Blastoise because I don't have things that can do more than 50% to it, so I have to whittle it down. And I go for the Earthquake here, and he actually predicts the Earthquake by going for the Magnet Rise, and I was like, okay. But burn damage is going to be racking up on this Magneton. I'm especially defensive. I know he's not choiced, so Hidden Power Fire really isn't that threatening to me. So again, I really thought he was going to switch out here, but I didn't want to get on my Stealth Rocks because, again, I thought he was just going to go right onto the Blastoise. So I was hoping that he would switch out into Blastoise and then Dragon Tail the Blastoise down to something else. However, I Dragon Tail into Primeape, which was the one thing I really didn't want to bring in because I don't have any sort of like dedicated switch-ins to it. Tentacruel could kind of deal with it, but I want to save that for Weavile. And Rotom is already switched into the Garchomp. Thankfully, I do dodge a Stone Edge. That does help a little bit. It wouldn't have done terribly too much, but any damage on a Mon that doesn't have recovery, aka my Rotom, is good. So I just go for the Volt Switch. Again, I don't care about Garchomp coming in, because then I can burn it the turn after. And I am just whittling down this Magneton. So I use this chance to just go back into Victini, because it is a big threat to his entire team. And I do go for the Blue Flare. I thought about going for the Psychic or the Glaciate, predicting the Garchomp to come in, but neither of those would have taken out the Magneton, and just in case, I wanted to take it out. Unfortunately here, I'm thinking that maybe he's going to bring in the Weavile and Pursuit Trap me. That would have been really, really bad, but thankfully for me, he does go into the Mega Blastoise, and I can just go into my safe switch in, which is my Togekiss. So very happy. I was terrified that as soon as I killed the Magneton, Weavile was coming in and Victini was going to be dead. Victini is a huge threat to Necro's team, and I really wanted to keep it alive, but I didn't have any plans for Weavile with the Victini. I didn't really have anything. But he goes for the Scald, does not get the burn. Unfortunately, you're going to see that becomes a pattern, but he sees that he did not do much damage to me, so he's going to switch out. I'm going to get up the safe Wish here because whatever he switches into, I can either pass out a Wish or I can, you know, stay in and get my health up. And then here I make an over prediction. I think he's either going to go for a Volt Switch or a status move. There's no way he goes for a Leaf Storm because it just doesn't make sense to me. I couldn't risk Tyranitar, and it's not super effective against anything else, and he goes for the Leaf Storm, and unfortunately Rotom dies. I could have just switched into Victini here. Taken a Leaf Storm, been back up to full health with the Wish, forced him out, and that would have been so much smarter, but unfortunately I can't do that. Now, I'm kind of wanting to see if maybe he's choiced in some way, and he does switch out, which makes me think that he could be choiced. However, he was also at -2 special attack, so maybe he just wanted to get out of there. I'm not 100% sure at this point, but I am thinking that he might be choiced. But I go ahead and just get up a Wish. This time I'm going to successfully pass it off, except for this Garchomp doesn't have any moves. I know it's Jolly Life Orb, but it cannot do a single thing that can kill Togekiss from this range, and because there was 100% guarantee that I would live a hit from Garchomp, I decided to go for the kill. Dazzling Beam does kill. He got greedy, went for the Swords Dance, which would have been good for him if I switched out. Could have maybe even won him the game there, but I had too much health in my Togekiss. He couldn't have taken me out with Garchomp, and I was okay with that. So now Weavile is going to come in, and no reason to play any sort of games with this thing. if he's Life Orb or Banded, Icicle Crash will kill Togekiss. So I go ahead into my Weavile switch in, and he does go for the Icicle Crash and does reveal the Life Orb. I'm pretty sure that it's Adamant, and I'm so bad at doing that with my screen. Stupid numbers at the top. But he then goes for the knockoff, but he doesn't knock off an item because I don't have one. I go for the Sludge Bomb, hoping for the poison. Don't get it, but that's looking pretty good. If, after another Life Orb hit and another Sludge Bomb, he could be dead. And thankfully, because I didn't have an item, that second knockoff is not going to kill me. I don't know what the roll on that was, but I do live on 4, and the Sludge Bomb is going to take out the Weavile. So Tentacool just straight up 1v1 the Weavile, which is all it needed to do. Primeape comes in, and I'm perfectly okay with letting this Tentacool die now. And he goes for the U-turn, so if I wanted to save Tentacool for fodder later on, then he would have gotten a lot of momentum against me. So I'm perfectly fine with letting Tentacool go down there, and was very happy. Weavile was one of the biggest threats to Victini, and yeah, there's really not much stopping Victini. Basically, this Mega Blastoise is the only thing that's really stopping me from really hurting his team. But I decided to go for the Wish in case, you know, he gets Scald Burns and whatever. I just want to make sure that I'm with good health on Togekiss. But he goes for the Ice Beam. We see that that is not a 2-hit KO. A max special attack modest Ice Beam would not be a 2-hit KO, but he is not the max special attack modest from what I find out later in the game. At least I'm not pretty sure. And I go for the Air Slash to see if I outspeed him or not. Or actually, I should have known this at this point. I forget what turn it is. There's a turn, one of these, where I just attack just to see if I do outspeed. Because if I outspeed, I can Air Slash flinch him. I am Serene Grace, and I have the Air Slash. And anything to whittle down this Blastoise's health is good for me. But we didn't get the flinch on that first Air Slash, which is fine. He switches out, predicts the Wish nicely. If I went for Air Slash, you know, it would have done some damage, but he still would have been still pretty good. So it's not super big deal. But I'm going to go ahead and switch out, and figuring that he can't take out the Mega Steelix, I go ahead and switch into that, and I might as well get the Wish into it. He goes for the Trick, so now I know he's choiced in some way. 100% know it. And I almost went into Victini, and spoiler alerts, that Rotom Cut is a choice Specs. So I almost would have had a Specs Victini, which would have been crazy. But now I decided to go for the Stealth Rocks. And here, my only objective is to get damage on the Mega Blastoise. Again, it's the only thing that's really stopping me from being able to run through his team, essentially. So I'm going to go ahead and get the Earthquake. I didn't get burned on that Scald, which means I get a lot more damage on this Earthquake off than if he would have burned me. And now that Blastoise is in range to die to Victini's Grass Knot. And I think there's one other thing on my team that he dies to. I think Tyranitar had a decent chance to take him out also. Or maybe with a little bit more health gone, Stone Edge would be able to take him out. But now I can just 1v1 him with the Togekiss. I'm just going to keep getting up safe wishes. I'm thinking that he is just going to try and get Scald Burns. I don't even know if he has Rapid Spin on this Blastoise anymore. But obviously getting rocks away from his side of the field are not very important to him. So it's fine. Now right here, I don't even bother to look at it, but I'm pretty sure, based on the Ice Beam damage that happened before, that an Ice Beam will not take me out from this range. But I do get the Air Slash flinch. Just so you guys know, that did not matter, especially, like, that Ice Beam would not have killed me. The Togekiss would still be alive. I would still be able to take him out this turn, though I would be at less health. I would not be at full health like I am at the end of this exchange. So it might have changed some of the plays, maybe even changed the differential at the end of the match. But that Air Slash flinch did not matter, especially because I would have lived and the Mega Blastoise still would have been dead, and now Victini can really just beat everything. However, I decided to just get some damage. I didn't want to straight switch into Victini here, because if he got if he got that Thunderbolt off of Victini, that Primeape, which I was thinking could be Scarfed, had Stone Edge and would have been able to take Victini out from that range. At a full health Victini, Primeape cannot take out Victini. So that is what I'm keeping in mind. And right now I'm just kind of stacking Togekiss. Togekiss's job was to 1v1 the Blastoise, was to kill the Blastoise, and it did it, so now it doesn't need to do anything else. I'm just going to Air Slash till I die. The Primeape lives on the invisible Focus Sash, and honestly right now, I go for Protect because right now I need Differential. I'm thinking that I could actually get out of this with Togekiss staying alive. So if he's choiced like I think he is, he's going to be choiced into Stone Edge. And one thing that hasn't shown up yet that doesn't mind a Stone Edge is the Tyranitar. If he wasn't choiced here, then this could have been really risky, but he does go for another Stone Edge, you will see. So that pretty much confirms to me that he is choiced, and it's not going to do a whole lot to the Tyranitar, and Primeape is going to be buffeted by the Sandstorm. So T-Tar is going to get the kill without actually attacking at all, which is pretty awesome. And then the Rotom is going to come right back in, and I now decide to go into the Victini because he can't 2-hit KO me with any move that he has, and the Primeape is gone, so I don't need to worry about any sort of damage on this thing. So he does go for the Leaf Storm. A Thunderbolt, I think, would have done about 49%, but this was a Specs Rotom, so he wouldn't have been able to outspeed me. So even if he went for Thunderbolt, got a max roll, and then the Sandstorm damage, that would be a 2 KO, but he wouldn't outspeed. So I just go for the Blue Flare, and I take out the Rotom Cut, and I believe that's the game. The crit didn't matter. The minimum roll was like 103%, so it did not matter, and that is the end of the game. That is a 4-0 victory. The plays at the end were there for me to keep my differential up. You know, I did what I had to do to win. You know, air slashing with Togekiss, protecting to force him into a move that'll be choiced, and I think I really played this game really well. Necro played fantastically. His team was very scary, but I don't know. He caught us on a really good day because I'm really happy with the way I played this game. The only really mistake that I made was switching the Rotom in on the Specs Leaf Storm from Rotom Cut, but I was convinced that there was no reason for him to go for a Leaf Storm. So there's that. I thought more than not that he would probably just go for a status move, but I don't know. That was really the only mistake that I kind of made, but everything else I feel like I played so perfectly. You know, everything did what it was meant to do. Tentacool was meant to take on the Weavile, did it. Togekiss was meant to take on the Mega Blastoise, it did it. And Victini was just such a threat, and everything just worked out so perfectly. So I'm really happy with how this game turned out. This is a 4-0 victory. That is our highest win differential for the season, but we have kept the pattern up so far. So from week 1 to week 6, we have lost, then won, then lost, then won, then lost, then won. So I guess that means that we're going to lose next week, but hopefully not, because if I remember correctly, we are playing Shroom Raver, and we cannot let him beat us. That would be embarrassing. So we're not gonna let that happen. We need to break the pattern. But unfortunately, we are going to hand Necro that loss, which is going to kick him out of second place there for sure. A 4-0 loss probably isn't going to help him too much. But you know, he's still in it, and you know, he could still pull off a good run for the rest of the season and still be a threat to everybody else. But we are probably going to be somewhere in the middle of the table where we usually are, and maybe we can pull off a really nice second half of the season run, and that will be really good if we can do that. So we're going to try our best. Also, make sure you stay tuned next week. I did make a transfer, but I will tell you all the details of that next week, because that's when it is good for. So that's going to be really exciting. I hope you guys are excited for that. And I think that is pretty much everything. So if I missed anything, go ahead, comment, all that good stuff. But I will see you next week. So thanks for watching, and until the next time, guys, stay sly.